Hi, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. This is a podcast brought to you by SMS Law, going through the legal secrets that will benefit you and your clients, as well as having a little bit of fun as we go. This podcast is designed to educate you on, number one, complicated legal terms that we will explain in an easy to understand manner. Two, to understand why you do things from a legal perspective in your business. And three, to help you develop a plan for the future success of your business. Our mission is to help empower small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time that it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. This podcast is all about empowering you and your business with knowledge and tools to ensure that that doesn't happen to you or to your clients. Let's begin, shall we?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brisbane Professional Podcast. My name is Craig Mason. I have with me Mr. Jeremy Stratton. Say hello to everyone, please, Jeremy.
Hello, Mr. Craig Mason. I hope everyone else is having a great day. And I hope you're having a great day too.
Indeed. Interesting times here in Brisbane. We're kind of immune to some of the things that are going on with lockdowns and whatever, but interesting and busy times. Today, we wanted to talk about joint venture agreements. So you see these from time to time, primarily, I guess, in the property development type sector. So it's where two parties get together as a joint venture, and rather than sort of setting up a separate company with shareholders and directors in that, they go down the path of a joint venture agreement. So we see them mainly in the property development area. So Jeremy, what is the actual purpose of the joint venture agreement?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. It's the obvious answer is that you've got to put something in writing, because if you don't have something in writing, then there's going to be an argument over to what the intention of the parties is. So you've always got to document the agreement. So what are the agreement? Who's contributing what? We'll go through some of the different clauses and the different things to go in there in a moment. But really around documenting what the actual agreement is, so that when there's a dispute, because there's always a dispute, there's always a misunderstanding, you can go back and look at and go, okay, well, what did the parties agree to at that time? Are you going to be able to define everything? No, but you want to put in the major things so that you can protect each party's interests going forward. So the purpose of the joint venture agreement is really that old saying that we like to say that good contracts make great relationships. And that's because they actually set down and define the roles and responsibilities of what people have in there. So, Craig, do you want to talk about that, like the responsibilities of each of the parties in the agreement and what that might look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, Jeremy, it's better to document this stuff and have everyone on the same page at the beginning than when there's an issue. So the responsibilities, vary depending on what it is that is going to be done, and as per what everyone's agreed to. But the sorts of responsibilities could be that, one party might be providing the land, for instance, in a property development. The other party might be responsible for organising all the development approvals, for instance, or the builder or whatever it might be from a property type transaction. And the other responsibilities, again, depending on what's operating. So if it's two sort of businesses coming together for another business, it's who's providing what skills, what's happening with the IP, those sorts of things. If anything's created in the joint venture, is it owned by the joint venture or the other parties? And basically, the responsibilities vary from joint venture agreement depending on what it is they're actually going to do. But it's definitely something that needs to be thought about and put in the joint venture agreement. So, Jeremy, you've spoken about the purpose, spoken about the responsibilities, and then one thing where unfortunately we come in towards the end potentially is a dispute of some kind.
Yeah. So again, these agreements need to define things like what happens in a dispute. So having a good dispute resolution clause that is actually practical. So often, I've seen dispute resolution clauses in the past that are really impractical, where they try and define all these different scenarios. It needs to be a clause which actually, or a process that actually can be followed and can really be used in multiple different scenarios. So you want to have a dispute resolution clause that actually sets all that out. And the other thing that you want to cover off on too is an assignment of interests. So yeah, in any agreement, joint venture, partnership, one of the parties can offload their interest in that joint venture. So you want to have a restriction on that. And actually the criteria around if it's going to be assigned, what do the new people have to do? What are the rules and responsibilities of all the parties around there? So they're two really important clauses, after the most important one being the responsibilities, just to make sure that if there is a disagreement in the future, that the terms are agreed of how it's going to be dealt with. So Craig, I think that's probably enough on the clauses. How should, if people want to get started on this, what should they do?
Yeah, I think we see the best way to get started and then come for the legal advice is to have a chat with the person you're thinking about doing the joint venture with. Document sort of the higher level responsibilities and roles and what it is you're trying to achieve. So make sure you've got some goals that you've discussed with the person. And it's all informal, so it's not a binding agreement. So nothing gets signed at that meeting unless you want it to be, and we'd be suggesting that you don't. But have a chat with the person, and then come and see someone about legal advice. You also probably need accountant advice as well about how it's to be structured and whether or not there's anything that needs to change there. But we find we see when it works best that the two parties have a chat first, and then come and see the lawyers and accountants at that point. You could do it the other way, but it's better to have some idea about what it is you're trying to achieve first before you come and see the likes of us. So yeah, that's it. Jeremy, you didn't have anything else you wanted to add for joint venture agreements?
No, I think it's you've covered it off there. I think it's just a really important one that you make sure you understand what you're getting into and document that agreement.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. If you did like the show, which we hope you did, please rate and review the podcast on wherever it is that you're receiving it. There's too many platforms to list, but whatever it is, 5 stars or 10 or whatever it might be, the ratings. If you'd also like to follow us on Facebook, please go to the SMS Law Facebook and like us there. Follow us on Twitter. Search for us on LinkedIn as well. We do throughout in between podcasts release other information and important tips and various other things for the business community. So check that out. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.